Hey, brand builder, Rory Vaden here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this interview. As always, it's our honor to provide it to you for free. And wanted to let you know there's no big sales pitch or anything coming at the end. However, if you are someone who is looking to build and monetize your personal brand, we would love to talk to you and get to know you a little bit and hear about some of your dreams and visions and share with you a little bit about what we're up to see if we might be a fit. So if you're interested in a free strategy call with someone from our team, we would love to hear from you. You can do that at brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall, brandbuildersgroup.com/podcall. We hope to talk to you soon.
How do you get publicity for your business, for your brand, for your book, for your mission, for your nonprofit, for whatever it is that you're trying to do or advance in the world? That was the subject of this week's interview with Selena Soo. It was awesome, and I really enjoyed meeting her. That was the first time I'd ever met her. I'd heard about her for years, just through friends and stuff. And I'm going to share with you some of my takeaways from Selena, and also I'm going to share with you some of my own philosophies here about how publicity works and things that we have learned. We've done a pretty decent job of getting our share of publicity over the years, so it's something that we definitely know about, and then also helping our clients regularly get national appearances for different things, which is great. But one thing I want to point out is, even if you already listened to that interview with Selena, the first time you listen to it, you probably listened to it like as a student, which is like sort of how I was, like what she was saying and trying to learn from her. But go back and listen to it again, of not what she's teaching and not what she's saying, but how she's doing it. Of all the guests that I've ever interviewed on this show, and I won't speak for all the guests that AJ's interviewed, but of all the guests that I've interviewed on this show, I could tell that Selena was a true pro at being a guest because of the way that she sequenced the conversation, and she one thing led to the next, and she had frameworks and all of these things. But by the way, if you're a brand builder, like if you're one of our messengers, one of our mission-driven messengers, one of our clients, you'll hear her doing things like frameworks and pillar points and the things that we teach you to do in captivating content. And so just like watch how she does it. She was a tremendous guest, all the way down to her lead magnet and everything. So just two different ways to learn from her. One is what she was saying, and two was like how she was doing it all. And I recognize those things because those are all things that I try to do and things that I do actually do that have made a huge difference for converting media appearances into leads for your business, right? Like, there's, I think of myself almost as a professional guest. I'm trying to be a guest, and I have a limited window, a limited time, a limited opportunity to be in front of someone else's audience to deliver so much value quickly in a way, in a sequence that creates context for a conversation to continue, and then to open the door and offer them a chance to find me and stay in relationship with me and us and our team at Brand Builders Group. And then, turn that into revenue and impact and relationships. And Selena did a magnificent job of it as well. You could go listen to me as a guest on someone's show too, and you could also see some of those things. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here. I was really, really impressed with her. So how do you get publicity? First thing that she brought up, which I really loved, because I don't think we hear about this enough, is that if you don't have a mainstream product, you don't really need mainstream media. If you don't have a mainstream product, you don't really need mainstream media. So what do I mean by that? I mean that many of us think, oh, I wrote a book and now I want to be on Good Morning America or the Today Show or Oprah or, the School of Greatness podcast or Ed Milet, or we think, oh, this would be the secret. This would be the key, is I got to get on mainstream media. But in reality, you don't, because first of all, the riches are in the niches. You'll often make more money, get more leads for your business by being in front of a smaller number of people, but it's the right people. this more like rifle approach versus the shotgun approach of like, I just want to be in front of massive numbers of people. Because if you don't have a mainstream product, then that means it doesn't apply to a lot of people. So if there's a big mass general audience listening, then you're going, 99% of the audience may not care about what you have. And so it's not serving that media outlet well, and it's not serving you well, and it's not serving their listeners or their audience well. And so you can sort of let go of that idea that in order for media to be successful, I have to be on the biggest podcasts, or I have to be on the biggest TV shows, or I have to be interviewed by the most famous interviewers. You don't. The riches are in the niches. Like, so I want you to think about that. Another thing, and I talked about this a little bit. I shared this in the interview with Selena, because this is something that we've started teaching our brand builders clients, which is, think of your online audience as an offline room. Think of your online audience as an offline room. So what does that mean? It means, for some reason, when we see, like, if you post a video online and you get 14 video views, like, a lot of people would look at that and be like, oh, I can't believe I got 14 video views. Like, I put all this work in for this 60-second video and only 14 people watched it. Yet, if you were going to stand up in front of a real life offline room of 14 people, you'd probably be excited about that, right? Like, your heart would get racing. Certainly, if it were 50 people in a room or 100 people in a room, and it's the same thing. Those are real humans, real people. Like, it's 14 or 50 people watching a video, just like it's 14 or 50 people watching you in a room. So those are real human lives. And just, there's something weird about when we think about it in the context of online, and it's probably because we're comparing it to everyone. Like, we're comparing it to people who have millions of views, like, or their video goes viral. And we're like, oh, why don't my videos go viral? Right? Like, I'm only reaching 50 people. Sweetheart, you only got to reach 50 people. Like, most of us don't need thousands of customers to change our life. Most of us, our business would be radically transformed if we had like a dozen or 24 of our perfect customers this year. Like, you don't need millions of followers to make millions of dollars, as AJ says. So think of your online audience as an offline room, and that'll give you a little more confidence and context of like, yeah, what you're doing is making a difference. And it will also help you with your media strategy. Why? Because chasing mainstream media, I don't want to tell you not to do it, because it's certainly not impossible. It is possible, and the media needs you more than you need them. So that is true. It's just, you can expend a lot of energy chasing it, and the odds aren't in your favor. Versus, you can go after things that you would think of as smaller, or like not less important or less significant, and actually get in front of 100 people. And it's like, that's 100 people. That's a huge audience. You don't need to be on a podcast that has millions of people. If you're on a podcast that has 100 downloads, 100, not 100 million, 100. If those are the right 100 people, that's the same as speaking in front of a room of 100 of your perfect prospects. So it's like, I would be more specific and target. We talked about Listen Notes is a great tool for that, and SparkToro were a couple great tools that you could look up that will help you research, different podcasts and things on specific and different influencers on specific topics. So you don't need to have mainstream media if you don't have a mainstream product. Also, to this point, I was talking about how clicks are better than views. Clicks are better than views. So if we're getting a media appearance, like a 5-minute video clip on Good Morning America is not going to change your life. Like, you'd think it will, but it's not. Like, it's just not going to drive that much website traffic. You're not going to get that many opt-ins. You're not going to get that many, if any, sales. Like, take it from me, been on national TV a few times, and had a lot of friends have done it. Now with a book launch, you get a national TV appearance. You might move a few hundred units with that, which is something, but it's not going to automatically make you an overnight bestseller just because you got on the Today Show one time. Like, it's different. But what can help is when you get a write-up in an online in somebody's blog, like somebody who's a huge blogger, or, Entrepreneur or Inc. or Forbes or Fortune, if they have a link there to your site, that's going to move some people. So clicks are better than views. Although I think, full length views, if it's like an hour long video or an hour long, listens like a podcast, those are super powerful because you have them for an hour. Other than that, the real value of national media is really how you repurpose it. It's making sure you put the logos on your website, you put the video, like the clips of you on TV in your demo videos and your sales videos, and in your press kit, clips of that. Of course, all things we teach you specifically how to do and give you templates for if you're one of our members. Which, by the way, if you're not a Brand Builder member, you should be. I mean, our stuff is legit. As humbly as I can say, we're changing lives, and we have a system that works. And it's not only working for us, it's working for the biggest personal brands in the world. It's working for people just brand new, intermediate people. Like, we got people doing viral TED Talks, book launches, doing 7 figures, 8 figures in their business, growing their email list, growing their social followers, hundreds of thousands. We have people going viral with their TED Talks. Like, our stuff is working because it's a system, that we spend a lot of time. And if you ever want to talk to someone on our team, you go to freebrandcall.com/podcast, freebrandcall.com/podcast, and request a free call with our team. It's free. And then we've got different levels, right? We've got like stuff for beginners and, people in between. And then, private, like high-end one-on-one coaching for like big time businesses and personal brands. So anyways, freebrandcall.com/podcast. Check that out every once in a while if you haven't yet. All right. Second takeaway from Selena. If you want to get on TV, there's 3 things you need to do. Okay. So this is like divided into 3 subparts. So if you want to get on TV, and we have the actual TV conversation, first of all, start local. Start with local TV, your local news channel. Why? Because there's less competition. 2 is because they need to feature local news, which is local people. So if you live there, you are a local. So it automatically skews it in your favor. There's less people asking. They have the same amount of demands for putting out content every single, day, 24 hours a day. And the other thing is because you get to practice. It's a sandbox, right? Like, you get to play there in the minor leagues a little bit before you go to the big leagues. You don't want I promise you might think you do, but I promise you don't. You don't want your first TV appearance to be the Today Show. You don't want your first podcast appearance to be Lewis Howes or Ed Mylett. You might think you do, but I'm telling you, you don't. You want to have practiced, and you want to be confident and tight and sharp and pithy and pointy and punchy and clear. And so that when you're on there and you're delivering your pillar points, it's like bang, bang, bang. And, if, again, I'm sounding probably like an arrogant jerk here, but if you haven't yet, go listen to Ed Mylett's show, the Ed Mylett Show podcast, and listen to the interview of me on his show. What you will hear there sounds like a spontaneous conversation, and in many ways it was, and it was very honest and heartfelt, and that's part of the magic. But the baseline of it was that it was a greatest hits of what we teach at Brand Builders Group, delivered all in an hour. And so we have dozens of comments. There were thousands and thousands of comments, but dozens of comments saying this is the greatest podcast episode I've ever heard on any podcast. Why? Because it's 4 years of our life buttoned up and polished and put into this one, 45-minute conversation, plus Ed's magic, and he's amazing, right? And his audience and all that stuff, like, they love him, they trust him, and we had great rapport and all that. There's a lot of things that come together, but we have hundreds of leads that came from that interview because it's the right combination of all of these things, not the least of which is that, Ed is very trusted and he's got a huge audience, but it's a great audience, right? And it's like, I would rather have that appearance than the Today Show because it's an audience of entrepreneurs, which is our target audience, right? Experts and entrepreneurs. So start local, learn to speak in sound bites, catchphrases. For those of you that are listening that are brand builders, internally in Captivating Content, we call these what? Pillar points. And we teach you the 6 pillar point formulas. These are 6 different forms of sentence structure that make it sound smart. And what the way you say it is as important as what you say. The cadence of how we hear things makes it sound smart, and even can sound smarter than the integrity of the idea itself. And you need to understand how to speak in sound bites. So, like, some of my more popular sound bites. Success is never owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. When you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. You're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. You make a life from the problem, or you make a living from the problem you solve, but you make a life from the passion that you chase. All of these kinds of one-liners that automation is to your time, what compounding interest is to your money. These are all one-liners that I've spent years crafting, right? And then you hear them on a TV show and you go, whoa, and it's tight. It's not 3 minutes to explain a concept. It's like the most concentrated core essence of an idea packaged beautifully, delivered eloquently in a way that hits the ear, and people just go ding. And that's what you need. When I'm saying we're going bang, bang, it's soundbite, 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 pillar point, pillar point, pillar point, catchphrase, catchphrase. They're all the same thing, more or less. And then the other thing that she said, which I always forget about, this was probably my greatest personal reminder from Selena, was think about how to make it visual. TVs are visual medium. So if you're trying to get on TV, think about how to make it visual, right? Don't just go, here's why I'm awesome and why you should have me. Think from their perspective. They're trying to go, how can we put together compelling visual content that holds people's attention? So just the fact that you're smart isn't necessarily make you a great guest for TV, even if you're eloquent, because it's like they need visual elements. So how can I make this more visual? And that was great. And again, just shout out to Selena, like her framework that she taught and ran through, which I just loved. And, it was super simple. The publicity pyramid, she's a pro. Like, was really, really good. And then the third thing, this is the last one. This is a quick one. Have one call to action and make sure it's a lead magnet. Don't send people to 1,000 places. When they're at the end of the interview and they say, so Rory, this has been great. Where should people go to find out more about you? Be like, well, you can get my book on Amazon. You can follow me on Instagram at this handle. I got a podcast over here. I did a webinar one time on this. I'll probably go live next week on Facebook over here. No. If you have diluted focus, you get diluted results. Send them to one place, one URL, one call to action. Say one thing over and over and over. And again, go listen to me on the Ed Mylett show. Part of why we got hundreds of leads is not because I'm saying, check out my book over here and I do this and that. And you want info about me on a keynote speaker. No. Yeah. You want to learn about me? Go to one place, freebrandcall.com. And then I give, his affiliate. Right. And so and it's like, well, where else should they go? I would just start there. Go to freebrandcall.com, and his is Ed Mylett, the one we use for this podcast, freebrandcall.com/podcast, right? That's what I'm talking about here. So one call to action, be very specific, clear, one URL, and send them to a property you control, right? Don't send them to Amazon. Don't send them to Instagram. Right? Like you finally got a captive audience. You finally have an opportunity to build your list and to start a relationship. And then you send them to a website you have no control over where there's a million other things going on. Send them to a URL. Dear goodness. Like, and learn to create a lead magnet, a lead capture. What is that? Right? Okay. All stuff we teach you inside a brand builders group, formal training, but a lead capture is a form. A lead magnet is something of value to them. Right. And you go, here's a free training or here's a free download. Again, Selena did a brilliant job on our show. She had this amazing 12-month media calendar. And I was like, she's such a pro. She gives one lead magnet, her little calendar, which I went and she got me. I opted into her list. I wasn't on her list and she got me with her lead magnet. So when you have a chance to be in front of an audience, give them one lead magnet, something valuable. We're going to teach you how to build funnels and webinars and things like that. But your first day, just make it a PDF download. Open up PowerPoint, design a 7-step checklist to blankety blank, save it and export it as a PDF, and then tell people how to go get it, where to email you and how to get it. Or, as you get more sophisticated, you build it as web forms and all that stuff. But that's the lead magnet is the thing you give them. The lead capture is the place you send them to actually get their information, where you capture their info. So when you get these media appearances, oh my goodness, or a speaking opportunity, or you're on TV or a podcast, like, please don't send someone to go follow me on Instagram so that you can see 1% of my posts, maybe, if you even manage to find my profile, and you don't get distracted by cute puppy dogs or, pictures of teddy bears rolling around. Like, and then if I'm lucky, you'll see 1 out of every 100 posts I make. No, send them to a lead capture with a lead magnet where you can have them in your database and you can own the relationship. I'm not saying don't use social media. We use social media, but like, this is your opportunity. You just delivered value bombs on a media interview that you spent years practicing and sharpening and getting your pillar points down. Make sure you harvest it properly. Send them to a place, and don't just send them to your website. If your website doesn't have a lead capture on it, which it should be, like, lesson number 1, lead capture, lead magnet on your website. Make sure you have those things straight. So all things we're going to step you through if you're one of our brand builders in due time and in the right order. But some great takeaways from Selena. Brilliant job. She had all the things we're talking about, right? It's not a mainstream media. Our podcast is not mainstream media. It's niche, but it's right in her niche. She knows that we trust people, our people. We try to cultivate trust with y'all. We try to give you value. She's speaking in sound bites. She has frameworks, her little publicity pyramid, 1 lead magnet, her little 12 media things. She gives you 1 URL, 1 place to go, download it. Bop, 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 bop. That's a publicity pro. So, anyways, we're going to get some affiliate links to promote some more of Selena's stuff. Hope you check it out. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I love you, and thanks for listening to me rant here. I'm just trying to add value. I want to encourage you. Make sure you go, send Selena some love on social. Like, go follow her, leave her a comment, tell her that you heard her on the Influential Personal Brand podcast. Keep coming back. Share this episode. Who do you know in your life that needs publicity? Who do you know that's an entrepreneur? Who do you know that's in a book launch? Who do you know in your life who's like in this moment going, I'm trying to reach more people? Send them this episode. It's free. All of our episodes are free. It's unbelievable, the podcast. I hope you feel that way. I know from your reviews on iTunes, many of you do, and you leave us great reviews, which help tremendously. So thank you for that. Thanks for your attention, your reviews, your sharing, your loving on our guests, and just for being here. We want to see you succeed. We want to see you exploit your uniqueness in the service of others. Have a great one. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.